Welcome to another episode of the Waffle Shop podcast. Today, I'm joined by someone from across the pond. It's content creator, musician, influencer, and all the rest, to be fair, which we'll get into. Gavin Magnus, welcome to the Waffle Shop.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to chat.
It's good. It's good. To be fair, when I first kind of like got introduced to you, I was like, how on earth is this guy going to like relate to anything that I do? But mate, you are absolutely smashing it at the minute.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been in the industry for a long time now, man. I've been doing this since I was like 9 or 10, and I'm 16 now, so I've been doing it for like 6 years. I've been on social media my whole life.
This is, I mean, like, so some of your so just for context, for anyone who doesn't know who you are or lives under a rock, you have had over 1 billion views and you have over like 20 million followers across all platforms. Like, that is insane.
Yeah. I mean, I think I started my Instagram and all my social media accounts, at a super young age. So I mean, I think it was just, I mean, a lot of hard work and dedication will get you there. So
Love that. To be fair, it's quite a lot of. To be fair, there's a really important message in there, isn't there, about like the consistency and kind of being your
yeah.
authentic self and stuff can take you wherever you want to go. Um, we're like a music podcast here in the UK, so we have a lot of people on the show who talk about like how their musical journey started. We've had
Yeah.
people on who said like they fell in love with an instrument or they went to see someone perform and they were like, I want to do that. How did your musical journey start?
So my musical journey started probably since I was born. So I grew up in, a musical family. My great grandpa played guitar, and my oldest brother, Justin, he's a great guitarist. And, growing up, I would always see him, playing guitar
In
and singing and stuff. And so I was always super intrigued by it, but I was obviously super little. And then I remember I grew up in New York uh, so many years ago, many years ago. I think I was about 6 when Justin Bieber's Baby came out. And I
classic.
remember I heard that song. I saw Justin Bieber, the music video. I did my hair in a bowl cut. And I told my mom, I said, film this. And there's a video of me on YouTube, on my mom's YouTube channel, of me dancing to Baby by Justin Bieber and singing it. And I had the Bieber bowl cut, the dog tag on. Like I had like all the Bieber swag going on. I was like, I was getting super into it. So I think from that moment on, I knew music was definitely going to fall into my path later down in life.
Was there a moment of like other than kind of like Justin Bieber of like being like, oh my God, like I can sing. I can do this. So obviously you know that like you get like these people, especially like fair, probably more so over the UK where you kind of like your family are like, oh yeah, you can sing, you should go and do this. And in reality they shouldn't. Whereas you get up there and like now like creativity quite clearly runs in your family. Like some of your YouTube videos, like your poor mum sometimes. I'm like, I was like, come on.
No, yeah. I mean, I feel like I knew I could sing when I was probably around 9 or 10 years old. And that's when I like, first started really singing. And I think when I was around 12, I found a music producer whose name is Andrew Lane. And I've been working with him for ever since the beginning now. He's an OG, so shout out to him. But I remember I recorded my first song. It was called Crushin'. It was like a little pop song. I was like 12, 11 at the time. And I released it on YouTube and it went viral, just went completely viral. And I think the video has like almost 30 million views now on YouTube.
Insane.
And ever since then, I was just like, hey, maybe this isn't so bad.
Well, there's
I mean,
clickbait. There's
maybe this
clearly
could
something
work.
there.
Yeah,
You're clearly doing something right.
yeah, clearly. And especially being, that young and seeing those many numbers is like you don't even know how to process that. So I was like, wow,
Yeah.
wow. I was mind blown.
Now that you're obviously like a little bit older and obviously you've got like, you're more kind of clued up in with how the industry works. Obviously, you kind of, you're stepping into your skin a lot more now. Like, you know who you are. Is there part of you that kind of sees then those numbers now and like, do you find it intimidating, or is it more like of a driving force? So like, right, okay, like let's keep going with this.
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like for me, it's definitely more of like a driving force, and I don't really I'm not one who's really gets intimidated or nervous or things like that, sometimes, but it's super rare for me. So like for instance, when I, go have a show or when I have to go perform somewhere, I don't really get nervous because I'm big on just being myself at all times and just constantly trying to be authentically me. And I feel like that's what helps me not be nervous at the end of the day because you know I've always been the life of the party, growing up. I've always been like wanted to be like the center of attention. I was always that kid. So, doing these things is kind of like almost what I was meant for. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's always been my dream to do these kinds of things. So I don't really get, nervous or intimidating.
That's a powerful position to be in, though, isn't it? Because you kind of like you hear. To be fair, I'm speaking purely from personal experience here. I did not have a clue what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be. I tried so many different things. It wasn't until I sat down in front of this microphone and started waffling with people that I was like, "Huh, okay, this is what I want to do now for the rest of my life." Has
Mhm.
there been any kind of like pinch me moments where like you've been on those stages and or even like you've had messages and been like, oh wow, like I've created this, like this is like from my talent, from me getting out of kind of like my comfort zone, I guess, and being like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, I think seeing my first music video blow up was kind of a surreal moment like that. And then when I was super, super little, I went on this little tour and I was probably around 12 years old. I don't even think I was 13. Yeah. And I did this tour and I did like 3, 4 different stops and I'm performing in front of, decently big crowds, like 200 to 300 people. And I remember being on stage and everybody's like cheering for me. And I was just like, that was my whoa moment. Like, oh my goodness, like this is cool.
What did that feel like? Because today is one of the questions that I ask a lot because we talk about kind of like mental health and like the songs that
Uh-huh.
soundtrack people's life on the show. And there's been
Yeah.
songs that some artists have like sang that have been quite like difficult for them to write, or they've took inspiration from quite like a painful moment. And now they've put it into a song, and all these people are now obviously in this crowd singing that song back.
Oh yeah.
Do you how do you navigate that when people are singing your songs back to you? Is it a bit of a like, well, Gervais, you kind of answered it, but like, how does that feel?
Yeah, so when I was touring when I was little, I was, mostly doing like covers and stuff. But recently I dropped this new song Lonely, which has been doing,
Yes.
amazing thanks to my supporters. I think it just hit over like 1.2 million streams on Spotify. And that was independently, with no promotion, no label, no nothing. That was all
Yeah.
independently just me, my promotion and my supporters. And I played like 2 or 3 shows. And I was performing the song and I was hearing people sing that song. And that was the first time I had really had people like sing my song for me on stage. And I'd always, you always see those videos of, the biggest artists, having their songs. They don't even have to sing their songs because their supporters are just singing word for word, bar for bar for them. So I was just like, wow, this could make me cry. You know what I mean? Seeing that actually happen and hearing it is so much different than seeing it online, especially when it's like happening to you and you can feel the connection that these supporters have with your music and you as a person. You know what I mean?
It's empowered. This is why I love music so much, because there's certain things like I
Together.
really, yeah, like I struggle to kind of say certain things or show my emotions, but there's a song out there that will articulate it, and they will sing or say the words like form. I mean, I have no musical talent whatsoever, so it's like it just makes me feel like I'm not on my own.
Yeah. Hmm.
I want to talk to you about like kind of like the inspiration and stuff that kind of, I guess, keeps the fire burning for you. Like you mentioned there about like your brother and stuff like playing guitar, like you know, when you were younger. What music was playing when you were growing up?
A lot of pop music. I grew up around a lot of pop music and rock. My dad loves like the hardcore rock. Like he loves Arctic Monkeys, the Goo Goo Dolls, like
Yeah.
all those types of people, Green Day, like all those things. And then the other side of my family, like my mom, they were loved like the Justin Biebers, the Britney Spears, the Justin Timberlakes. Like so I kind of grew up between those two. And it's kind of coincidental because that's the music that I put those two genres together, and that's the music I'm making now. It's just like the pop punk, like Machine Gun Kelly type of genre.
I now that you've said that, I can really hear that in your music because you've
Yeah.
got you can really tell like whether it's like the guitar and like obviously you singing over the top of it. Like that I love hearing these kind of stories, like how
Yeah.
the inspiration started and stuff like that. Um, Tell me about the new single. Obviously, 1st of September. Is it 1st of September? Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
First of
Psycho.
September.
Tell me about
Psycho.
it.
So Psycho, thank you so much for asking. So Psycho is a song that I wrote with John Feldman, and the song kind of describes a personal experience I've had where, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, listening to it or wherever you're seeing this. Psycho kind of represents being in that toxic relationship or being in that toxic situationship, and the guy or the girl is doing things to make you mad or to make you upset or doing all these things that just don't slide or are not fine by you, and they don't know that it's making you go crazy. Like they don't know that you can be a psycho. So the song kind of tells you like, hey, I can be a psycho, like I can do this too, like so be careful with what you do, you know what I mean? Like you made me do this, you're the reason I'm like this.
You know
Because
what?
that's how a lot of things happen. Guys or girls get their heart broken and they become a completely different person. I mean,
Mhm.
it builds character for sure, but I feel like that's kind of what the song is. The image that song is grasping.
Do you know what? It's actually quite an interesting take
Yeah,
on that whole kind of, which I don't know if I've actually heard been done before, because there's a big element of like when things like that happen, like people don't really take responsibility for their actions, but they'll react to the way that you've reacted, but not
yeah,
consider, well, their actions has just made me act
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I like this. With that, so obviously with the new single coming out,
Mhm.
what's next? Is there potential albums? Like, what's the plan looking like?
So I don't want to say too much, but after the single, we have an album in the works. My first album that is definitely going to happen soon after, and
How
then
does
after
that
that,
feel saying that? Does that feel weird
that
or
that
how you feel?
that does feel a little surreal. Saying that I'm dropping an album. I've always wanted to, and I've just never gotten to the point of actually doing it. So now we're working on it. It's going to happen, and then after that, we're gonna go on tour. We're gonna start touring, and it'll be amazing. And I can't wait to see everybody and see everything that happens. And I'm so excited.
I love this. This is the kind of like conversations I need to have because I feel like it's lighting a fire for me to like, yes, okay, keep going,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to
yeah,
like authenticity and stuff because there is a lot, you put a lot of hours, I imagine, into kind of like the YouTube videos, the music, and like obviously, well, I guess you don't really have to put a lot of time into being yourself, but when like obviously you're running at such a rate, it can get a little bit kind of like, oh, okay, might get a little bit tired. How do you relax?
yeah.
Or do
So
you relax?
no, no, I'm definitely big on taking breaks, or not breaks, but making sure you get your decompressing time and you get time to kind of relax, chill out, get back in the zone. What I like to do personally, I like to go in the hot tub, take a nice bath. I like to play guitar. That's, even though that might be considered working, but it's part of my music, and I just genuinely love playing guitar as an instrument. I think it's soothing and it's calming. Sometimes I'll throw on a TV show, watch some YouTube, make myself a nice meal. I'm at the end of the day, I am a normal human and I do normal human things because I think people get this, misconception that celebrities do these completely different things and they're different beings, but it's like, no, we're humans too, and we're just like you. We do the same things as you.
No, I get a real sense of that though, because it's kind of like, I guess it all comes down to that like authenticity thing, doesn't it? It's like regardless of what it looks like, if it gives you
Oh
kind of
yeah.
a little bit of peace, like there's no one that can tell you that's the wrong thing to do, regardless of what it looks
Oh
for
yeah.
anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we talk about kind of like coping mechanisms a lot on the show, and I've found some of my biggest ones from having these kind of conversations. Like I journal a lot now just to kind of get the thoughts kind of out of my head. When things do get a little bit kind of like busy or manic, is there anything that you kind of lean towards that really kind of like grounds you and kind of gives you that proper headspace?
It's funny you said that you journal because I've that's what I've just started doing recently is writing down emotions I'm expressing and writing down certain feelings sometimes because later I can look down and look back at it and be like, okay, let me write about that or let me make a song about that. And it's also good, in the moment to just kind of express what I'm feeling and kind of write it out so I can look back at it X amount of time later and say how much, and let's see how much I've worked past those emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's a
So
powerful position to be in, isn't it? Like, and to be fair,
yeah,
I'm exactly the
100%.
same. There's certain kind of like episodes of this kind of like of the podcast that I've like recorded when things have had like, or I've had a bad day and stuff. And I'm like, "Do you know what? I need to kind of throw in the towel and stuff." And then I'll have the conversation and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, this is why you don't stop doing. This is why you don't give up." And then I look back and I listen to those kind of episodes now and be like, ah, at that time, I didn't think I was going to get through that day, but
Yeah.
I did it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
Yeah.
powerful to be in, position to be
Oh yeah.
in. So obviously we talk about music a lot on the show, and there's three questions that I always ask my guests. And I mean, I can't imagine it takes you a lot to get on the dance floor, but is there a song that needs to be playing and you're running to the dance floor?
Oh, dude, yes. So if I'm anywhere and I hear Love Me by Justin Bieber or Eeny Meeny, don't even
Classics.
have to ask. I'm running right to that dance floor. I'm hitting the craziest dance moves you've ever seen. Ever.
Do you have a
I'm hitting
go-to dance move?
a go-to dance move. Do I? I'm trying to think.
Or do
Hmm.
you just feel it like whatever the song is, like you just go with the beat?
Actually, no, I do. It's called it's called the Billy Bounce. Something that I
Okay.
learned. I was super little. I learned it like 6 years ago. I remember I saw it on like Musically or like Instagram or it was Vine or something. It was a long time ago. And I remember I was going to my mom's room. I was like, "Look, I almost did it." Because like I would always show her like my progress of the dance. Do you know what that is? Like the one where like you go like that, like the with your knees. You know
Oh,
what I'm
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
like where you go like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. It probably doesn't look too good from there, but
yeah. It's okay. It's okay. You've got obviously it works. I mean, it's
yeah,
impressive
it
because
worked.
mine's just like the normal two-step. So if this was a dance
What's the
battle,
double
you would
two
have already
step?
won.
What's the double two step?
Oh, not the double two-step. I'm not that not that talented. It's just basically I
Oh,
rock side to side and just get like a little bit of a
oh, yeah, a little bit of a sway.
yeah. Depends how it is. Um, on the flip side of getting on the dance floor, is there a song or an album or even an artist that, it kind of tugs on the heartstrings for you?
Yeah. Um, I would say my top three would have to be Juice World, Justin Bieber. I have to always keep him in there. I can't ever forget him. And probably Post Malone. My top
Yes.
three.
His new
Love,
album is
amazing, amazing.
so good.
His albums are
Oh.
awesome,
To be fair,
awesome.
saying that, obviously you've mentioned obviously a Bieber quite a few times. Like when it comes to like music, obviously people get very kind of into the whole kind of collaboration mode. Like, would he be like your dream collaboration, or who else would
Oh,
there
for
be?
sure. For sure. Either Justin Bieber, like the Kid Leroy, for sure. Like
Oh,
all time dream collabs.
his voice, it like pierces me, Kid Leroy's.
Yeah.
His So Sick for
Yeah.
me is like, oh, okay, I can literally listen to it once a month, and then I'm like cured.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is
he's
is
awesome.
there is there a song that you would like to put in a box, wrap in chains, kick into the ocean, and never hear again?
Never hear again. Yes. Yes. I feel like this is a common answer. This is just one song I do not like.
Okay.
I heard it too much and I can't seem to escape it I feel that as for everyone else who I think feels the same way. It's this one TikTok song. You definitely heard it.
Do
I
you know what
can't.
though, Gavin? I think you're the first person who's come of it and knew the answer straight away to this. Because I feel like a lot of people give me like oh, what can I say? Give me like a cool answer, or they get worried about what to say. But you're no, straight in. This is it.
Yeah, well, it's this song. It's the ooh wait,
Oh my God. It
I
is
just
everywhere. It is
dude,
everywhere.
I hate that song. Like, much love to the artist, no disrespect to the artist, but like, it's just like I can't escape it. Everywhere I go, every video I've seen for like, not so much anymore, but like for the past month, it was just everywhere, everywhere. Like, you would see the most random video or the most interesting video, and it would have that song under it. Like, you turn up the volume, and it's ooh, hey, my God. And I'm like, oh my God.
You do realize now that you've played that, it's going to be, it's like the algorithm, whatever, is going to pick that straight back up.
Yep, yep, I know, I know. That's a good point. That's a good, yeah.
Do you understand all that kind of like algorithm business and stuff, being like, obviously a very successful YouTuber?
Oh yeah, for sure. Being in the industry and social media, especially, I do YouTube, right? So YouTube is based on algorithms and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. The back end of YouTube is a lot deeper than people think. You've got click-through rates, you've got CPMs, this and that, algorithms, titles, thumbnails, how good your title scores. Like, there's so many statistics that go into like YouTube, for instance, and platforms like Spotify too, even. So, I mean, yeah, I would say I'm pretty good with the
Yeah.
statistics
Oh,
and
clearly, look at the
yeah.
numbers. Does
Yeah.
any of that ever take the fun away from what you're doing?
Like,
Like,
what do
does
you mean?
it,
Like, how
like, do you
so?
ever, like, do you know, like, if you are kind of going into like the statistics or the analytics and seeing like certain numbers, do you be like, oh, okay, well, are you that kind of person that be like, oh, okay, that hasn't quite worked. Let's try something else.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I necessarily get upset about it. I don't think it takes the fun out of it. I think it makes it more fun because you're challenged to do something else. Like I'll see a video, on a platform. I'll be like, oh well, that didn't do so well. All right, let me see what else I can do. You know what I mean? Or my mom helps me with. I wouldn't be anywhere without my mother. So,
Love that.
love her. That's shout out to her. But like she'll help me come up with ideas for songs even or YouTube videos or things like that. So yeah, I mean
She must be incredibly proud, like, because it's honestly, you're clearly doing like her justice, because like the way you carry yourself and even just like how much fun you have, like it really comes through in like the videos. Um, so yeah, like a huge credit to your mum there.
yeah,
I wouldn't say mummy's boy because that sounds like a negative thing, but I'm exactly the same. I wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for my mum. So
yeah,
they're incredibly credible women.
yes, 100%.
I have one
Shout
final
out.
question for you. Exactly. Huge shout out to others. One final question for you. Obviously, we have a lot of people who listen to the show who are still trying to figure it out and trying to like navigate like a wide range of kind of situations and stuff. If
Uh-huh.
there was a question, or if someone's having a bit of a bad day or kind of having a bit of a wobble at the moment, like what advice would you give them to kind of keep going?
I would say don't listen to other people's opinions. Go with your heart and go with your instinct. And don't ever let anybody else try to bring you down, because I've seen it happen and it doesn't end up good and it kills people's dreams. So stay in your lane, be yourself, be authentic, work hard, forget motivation. It's all about dedication, and be yourself.
Mate, brilliant. I felt like I want to clap.
Yeah, I mean, I've always, I've always tried to remind myself that, because I feel like motivation motivation's a weird thing because it's so easy to gain and it's so easy to lose. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I've always tried to like be like, well, motivation doesn't get you as far as dedication, because you have to be committed to something. Like, if you're tired, do it tired. You know what I mean? It's all about getting it done no matter what type of thing. I
I
try
mean,
to.
that's where you get to where you want to be, though, isn't it? That's like it's that kind of viewing things rather than looking them as as obstacles. You look
Oh
at
yeah,
things
yeah,
as stepping stones.
100%. Yeah.
I love that. So I feel all empowered now. Is
Oh
there
yeah.
obviously in that kind of world of like music and YouTube and stuff? And to be fair, like I need to say sorry because I feel like quite a lot of these questions sound quite negative, and I don't mean them to. It's just I'm genuinely really interested in like how you
Oh
kind of
yeah.
navigate it. But like, do you ever like? Because I'm a big believer in comparison being the thief of joy. Like if you're constantly comparing yourself, like you're not being authentic. You kind of, you're trying to be everyone else. Obviously, with you clearly having a big understanding of like who you are and what you want to do you ever fall kind of victim to that and compare yourself, or you just like, nope, this is who I am. I ignore everyone else.
I don't really compare myself now. And I try not to, mainly because it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do you any good, And most of the things that you see on social media are sugar coated, or fake, or just not as real as they are,
Yeah.
out to be. So I mean, I try not to, compare myself, and I wouldn't say I really do. I say I'm true to myself, and I try to just do my own thing. And maybe I'll see something, and I'll be like, oh, I wish I could do that. But like I feel I try I feel like I don't look at people and I'm like, oh, I wish I was that person, or I wish I had this thing that person had, or you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think I really take it that far, and I try not to, just because it doesn't do you any good.
Oh,
Doesn't
it's so
doesn't further
refreshing to
you.
hear.
Yeah. So
Well, mate, best of luck with Psycho. Not that you need it. It's going to be an absolute smash, like every other
thank
one of your songs.
thank you so
Um,
much.
I'll be keeping an eye out for the album, obviously.
Okay.
But best of luck with everything. And thank you so much for joining me for a waffle.
Thank you. I hope to join you again for another waffle.